review CR23 is rational exponents, and so you have radical notation, which is denoted here, and then you have your exponential notation, right? So like the third root of 4 can be written in exponential notation as 4 to the 1/3, third root, or like the fifth root of 2 is 2 to the 1/5, right? Same thing. Well, if you have the nth root of a to the m, that would be a to the m to the 1 over n, if you're going to write it in exponential notation. And then you can go ahead and multiply those. So a to the m over n, right? So either one of those works there. There's your properties or your notations for rational exponents. So let's take a look at the fifth root of a, and it says convert this radical to exponential notation to an expression involving rational exponents. So this would just be 8 to the 1/5. The ninth root of x to the 8th would just be x to the 8th to the 1/9, and then that's a power of a power, so you can go ahead and multiply 8 times 1, the numerators and the denominators, so x to the 8/9. Alright, why don't you guys do that? You try it. You can go ahead and punch it into the chat there with the caret symbol, the shift 6 for the exponent. So that's x to the 1/7 to the 5th, power of a power. Go ahead and multiply those. Good. X to the 5/7. All right, let's go ahead and write this now with in our radical notation. So 5x to the negative 11/9. First of all, that's a negative exponent. If you remember, a to the negative n is 1 over a to the n. So I'm going to take that down to the bottom and make it to the 11/9. And now let me rewrite that as, this is 5x. This is the same as to the 1/9 to the 11th. In other words, the 9th root of 5x to the 11th. 1 over. That's how you could put that in notation. Because again, a to the m over n is a to the 1 over n to the m. In other words, the nth root of a to the m. All right, for those properties. All right, let's rewrite these ones with radicals. So we have 7x to the 5/8. I'm going to write that as 7x to the 1/8 to the 5th. In other words, the 8th root of 7x to the 5th. Minus, now let's go ahead and write 4y to the 1/7 to the 3rd. So minus the 7th root of 4y to the 3rd. So we have the 8th root of 7x to the 5th plus, or minus, I'm sorry, 7th root of 4y to the 3rd. All right, why don't you guys go ahead and try that next one. Very good. Awesome. So check your work there. All right, now let's go ahead and simplify some expressions here. This one we have the square root of 5 to the 8th. So the first thing we're going to do is look at this with exponential notation. So you can go back and forth. Square root of 5 is 5 to the 1/2. Remember, that's a second root right there. 5 to the 1/2 to the 8th. So that's 5 to the 8 over 2. In other words, 5 to the 4th. Right? Let's think about that again. Square root of 5 to the 8th. That means there's 8 square root of 5s. Well, square root of 5 times square root of 5 is 5. Square root of 5 times square root of 5 is another 5. Right, square root of 25. There's another square root of 25. There's another square root of 25. See how it's 5 to the 4th? Or, I'm not even sure, what is 5 to the 4th? 625, right? Yeah. So square root of 3 to the 6, what would that be, you guys? Go ahead and type that in here. So that's 3 to the 1/2 to the 6, or 3 to the 6 over 2. Well, 6 over 2 is 3 to the 3rd. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, all right? Again, that's 6 of these. Square root of 9, square root of 9, square root of 9, 3 to the 3rd. It's 27. Either way you want to look at that. All right, let's go ahead and simplify 343 to the 2/3. So it's 343, that's to the 1/3 square. So in other words, the third root of 343, and then that's square. So we're going to go ahead and work inside that parentheses there. We're going to take the third root of 343, and 343, one of the factors of 343, so I'm looking for 3 of a kind. One of the factors is 7, so 7 times 49. Well, 49 is 7 and 7. So if you look at this, I have, third root, I'm looking for 3 of a kind. There it is, 7. So the third root of 343 is 7, and now we just got to square it. 7 squared is 49. Let's do this one now. Negative 27 to the 4/3. So I'm going to take it to the 1/3 to the 4th. So in other words, whoops, that's a 27. Sorry about that. So the third root of negative 27 to the 4th. So I'm looking for 3 of a kind. So I break down negative 27. Negative 27 is negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. So I'm looking for 3 of a kind, and notice I have negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 is negative 27. So the third root of negative 27 is negative 3, but I still got to take it to the 4th power. So negative 3 to the 4th power is 81. Well, you guys try that negative 216 to the 2/3. You go ahead and punch it into the chat there, your proposed solution. So third root of negative 216, if you factor 216, it factors into 666, but I want negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6 to give me negative 216. So the third root of negative 216 is negative 6. Notice I have 3 of a kind. But don't forget, I still have to square this. So I end up with 36 on that one. But this next one, we got negative 64 to the negative 5/3. Well, it's a negative exponent, so I'm going to write that as 1 over negative 64 to the positive 5/3. And then I'm going to go from there. So that's negative 64 to the 1/3. To the 5th, there's the 5/3. In other words, the third root of negative 64 to the 5th. So now I'm taking the third root of negative 64. So negative 64 is 4 times 4 times 4. So negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 is negative 64. Just don't forget, you still have to take that to the 5th. So the third root of negative 64 is negative 4, but remember I still got to take that to the 5th power. So then I take negative 4 to the 5th power, and I get negative 1024. And so this just ends up being negative 1 over 1024. Go ahead and check yourself with your work there. You got positive 1/4. And let's keep moving on. This is kind of a pretty long section here. How about simplify this next expression? I'm going to take each of those to the 3 halves, and then 49 to the 3 halves. So what I have is the square root of 9 to the third, and on the bottom I have the square root of 49 to the third. All right, I have square root of 9 to the third. On the bottom I have the square root of 49 to the third. Well, the square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 49 is 7. So 3 to the third, I got 27. 7 to the third, was that 343? So I got 27 over 343. And I'm actually stuck right there. Can't do anything with that. You guys try that next one and see what you get on that. Awesome. Go ahead, check your work. Should get that 512 over 125. Pause it if you need to. And let's keep going here. Now we got a negative exponent. So if you remember, a over b to the negative n is the same as b over a to the n. Or if you want to think about it this way, that's a to the negative n over b to the negative n. And so that'll go up and this will go down. B to the n over a to the n. You see how that works? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just flip these. And then I'm going to take it to the positive 2/3. And then I'm going to go 125 to the 2/3. And then I'm going to go 64 to the 2/3. So I have the third root of 125. And on the bottom I have the third root of 64. Well, the third root of 125. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So that's 5. Third root of 125 is 5. I still got to square it. Third root of 64 is 4. Right? 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. I'm looking for 3 of a kind. And I got to square that. So it ends up being 25 over 16 on that one. All right, well, you guys try this one right here. 8 over 27 to the negative 4/3. Go ahead, check your work there, and let's move on to that next one. Notice they have the same base, so I'm just going to use a to the m, a to the n, a to the n plus n. So I got 6 to the 4/9 plus 14/9. Well, that's 6 to the, notice they have a common denominator, 18/9. Well, 18 over 9 is 2. So this is just 6 squared, which is 36. Here, same base again, so I'm going to use a to the m minus n. So I got 3 to the 1/3 minus 10/3, or 3 to the negative 9/3. Well, that's negative 3. 3 to the negative 3 is 1 over 3 to the 3, which is 3 times 3 times 3, 1 over 27. Let's go ahead and just knock out the rest of these real quick. So together, so we got 4 to the 1/3 minus 7/3. 1 minus 7, negative 6/3. In other words, 4 to the negative 2. 1 over 4 squared, or 1/16. These do not have the same base, if you notice. But what I could do is, I have 3 to the 1/3. That's a base 3. 9 is the same as 3 squared. So there's my 9 to the 1/3. So this is 3 to the 1/3 stays the same. The next one is 3 to the 2/3. Now they have the same base, so I can add them. 1/3 plus 2/3. Well, that's 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3, or 1. So that just ends up being 3 on that, right? That's one way to do that. Now let's do it with some variables. All right, so we have y, the 12th root of y to the 7th. So y to the 7th to the 12th root. So I'm going to write that as 1/12. And then y to the 5th to the 3rd root, so 1/3. Now I'm going to multiply 7 times 1/12. So I got 7/12. And then y to the 5/3, 5 thirds. Right? Multiply 5 times 1/3. Same base, so I can go ahead and add those. So I have y to the 7/12 plus 5/3. Well, I don't have a common denominator, so I'm going to multiply by 4 on that. So I have y to the 7/12 plus 20/12. Now I have a common denominator, 27/12. All right, y to the 27/12. Well, 27 and 12, both of those go into 3. So it'd be y to the 9/4 on that. Okay. So next one we got x to the third is the square root of that, so that's to the 1/2. Next one is just an x, 8th root of that, so 1/8. So we have x to the 3/2, x to the 1/8, so I can add those, same base, 3/2 plus 1/8. Well, they don't have a common denominator. These call multiple 2 and 8 is 8, so I'm going to multiply that by 4. So we got x to the 12/8 plus 1/8. 12 plus 1 is 13/8. And lastly, here we've got x to the 5th is to the 1/6. Y is to the 1/6. The next one we got x going to the 5/6, and then y to the 5th to the 5/6. So let's go ahead and clean this up. 5 times 1/6, I got 5/6, and then I got y to the 1/6. Then I got x to the 5/6, and I got y to the, I'm going to multiply those, 25/6. So let me put the x's together. 5/6. I have an x to a 5/6. I have a y to the 1/6 and a y to the 25/6. So now I can take 5/6 plus 5/6 is 10/6, and then 1/6 plus 25/6 is 26/6, and then just simplify those. 10 and 6, that's 5/3. Whoops, that's an x right there. Whoops. X to the 5/3. 26 and 6, those both go into 2. 13/3. So x to the 5/3, y to the 13/3. That should get you going on the homework. Thanks for watching.